I've made over $10,000 in a bunch of different business ventures, such as e-commerce, appointment setting, closing, managing, operating, so on and so on. So in this video, I'm literally going to give you guys the ultimate guide on how to go from zero to $10,000 a month in a step-by-step process. I've literally made out a full little blueprint on my computer, which I'm going to walk you guys through to make sure we actually know exactly every single step you need to walk through to finally get to that $10,000 a month mark as fast as humanly possible as well. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump right in. All right, so as you guys can see, I am now here on my screen just sharing a little bit of a slide deck that I've made with AI and a couple of my notes just to quickly walk you guys through exactly what you need to do, walking you guys through all the steps from skill, offer, getting the client, and then scaling and just growing from there, right? So I want to keep this channel, all these videos, pretty raw, no BS, just actually straight value, straight to the point. So you guys make sure you actually know exactly what you're supposed to do. I just want to preference by saying I can't obviously go into detail on every single step, because if that was to be the case, the video would be hours and hours and hours long. But what I am going to do is give you guys a quick and easy overview over every single step, so you guys actually have a good understanding of how to maneuver from every single step, from step 1 to 8, basically. Now, I also want to preference by saying if you guys have no idea who I am, or if it's the first time you've seen any of my videos, I just want to thank you guys for actually watching. My name is Marco, and like I said in the intro, I have basically made over $10,000 a month in several different business ventures, but I have realized that I've not really talked about this to anybody, or I haven't even teached anybody anything. I've kind of just been doing it myself. So I think this is a cool way of actually me giving some free value to you guys and also just sharing my journey. So you guys should be able to actually get to the freedom that you're looking for. That's kind of my whole goal with the channel and these videos moving forward. So make sure to watch the whole video in its entirety to really understand everything that I'm talking about. And if for whatever reason you still want some direct one-on-one help, or you just can't get a hang of it, whatever, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not a guru, I'm not anything like that. But if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'm not going to leave any links as for now, at least, but find my email somewhere, reach out to me, and we'll have a genuine conversation to see if it even makes sense and if it's something that I can help with. But with all that being said, let's just jump into the first step. So step number 1 is you need to identify your skill and so-called edge. Okay, so what I mean by this is, to get to $10,000 a month, what we need to do is we need to have some sort of skill that we can charge for. All right, that's kind of going to be the gist of it. It's pretty much always been the gist of it. I'm going to go into more detail about everything, but I do have a couple things that I want to go over, which I've kind of learned from my mentors and just over the years of working in this kind of section of the internet, I guess. Now, like I said, this slide deck is just like a bunch of text. Main thing you want to be listening to is what I'm saying and not really what is written down. It's more just for me. But main thing is you want to make sure you have a proper skill. Okay. So you want to identify something that you're good at, a skill set that you have, which other people don't, or some sort of skill that you're super good at, which you can pretty much provide. Okay. Now, when I say edge, why this is important is because everybody out there usually have some sort of unfair advantage. So I've heard, I think his name is Ali, talk about this. Also, one of my mentors, Callum, has also talked about the unfair advantage. And what this basically means is that you have something that you're kind of good at. It's basically the edge that you have, which most people don't. Something you're naturally good at, something you've developed that you're super good at, something that kind of resonates with you, or something that relates to you, which you can kind of squeeze out more than what the normal person could, if that were to be, if that were to make any sense, right? So I would say for me, usually, my edge has always been creativity, people say that I look good and that I also socialize as well, right? Which is kind of one of the main reasons why I also want to do the content thing. So I want to show my face on screen. I want to be able to have people see me, so on and so on, right? So always I've been super creative. I always thrived in social situations, which is also why I went into sales, which was kind of my main way of actually making money until I was doing all the rest and whatnot. So I've always wanted to be on camera, be seen, be socially active, and so on, which is kind of my unfair advantage and my skill, because most people would usually just want to stay behind the screen and not be seen, right? So that's kind of where I took my unfair advantage and really delved deep. Now you want to be able to find yours. And this is usually one of the main issues most people have is like, okay, but I don't have a skill, or you don't have something you feel like you're good at. You don't have an unfair advantage. And usually you do. It's just that you're limiting yourself. But even if you feel like you don't have, there's a couple different ways to look at it. Okay. And again, my mentor Callum has taught me this, but you have results-based skills and you have convenience-based skills. We want to focus on results-based skills. Okay. So I'm going to walk you guys through both of them so you can actually understand what you need to look for and what your skill kind of should be. Okay. So results-based skills are basically skills that are directly correlated to the results that you bring. Okay. Which means that the skill that you do is directly going to provide some sort of result for the person you're doing the skill for. Okay. So an example can be if you are running ads for an e-commerce store, right? Let's say your ads alone generate $100,000 profit for the e-commerce store. That's a results-based skill. A convenience-based skill is usually like admin tasks, admin skills, things that people just don't want to be doing, so they just pay somebody else to do, I guess, right? Which can be like managing somebody's social media. The reason why convenience-based skills aren't as good as results-based skills is because convenience-based skills are still good, but they're capped, right? It's almost like just a 9 to 5 essentially, while a results-based skill is way more scalable and it's way better, because we'll use the same example. You're running ads for an e-commerce store. You're generating them $100,000 profit. Since you are generating those results, you're basically entitled to a part of that money, right? So if you are generating them $100,000, let's say you get 30% of that, that's $30,000 right there, right? Just as an example, right? The reason why I know this is because I've literally been an e-commerce owner paying an agency to run ads for me and paying a percentage of the results they bring in. So I know this firsthand, right? A convenience-based skill would never be able to actually get you that, because you're just like managing something, managing a social media. You're just doing admin tasks, while when you're bringing in results, if they didn't have you, they would have never gotten those results anyway. You see the kind of the difference. So what you want to be doing is you want to make sure your skill is a results-based skill, and you want to list, like, this is just a quick exercise you can do, but just like actually list out a couple skills that you're good at, see what your unfair advantage is, and then outline some proper definition to, like, I help, who do you help, right? What do you help them get? What result? In what time frame, right? So you want to write that down, get that skill nailed down, and basically have your unfair advantage, have your edge, and you should be good to go from there. So once you have a proper results-based skill, and also I just want to preference by saying, like, actually look at it as a results-based skill, because you can have something like video editing, which is basically time consuming and you're editing videos for somebody, but if your videos alone is what is generating the person income, then it's still a results-based skill, even though it's like somewhat convenience-based, right? But you have to take it with a grain of salt. Make sure it is something that's actually directly driving results. Cool. So once you have the scale nailed down, you want to identify different pain points and a problem. So what I mean by this, and I'm pretty much going to drop what do you want to call this? I'm going to drop a little bit of a bomb or a harsh truth for most people out there. And this is that money is exchanged for problems and pain points that are solved. Okay. This is very, very important because most people see the trading lifestyle, they see all these cars and they see all this stuff, and then they think that money is just going to fall into their lap. But that's not how it works. Okay. You're only going to really be getting money if it's exchanged for problems that are solved or pain points that people have, right? So you want to make sure you connect the skill that you have to a specific problem which you solve and then get paid in return for it. Okay. Hopefully, this makes sense. I want to make sure I'm explaining this as stupidly simple as I possibly can, but it's going to be raw. It's going to be pretty unedited. So you guys actually have the whole outline. So, why this is so important is because money, like I said, money is not just going to fall into the lap. You want to make sure you actually have a problem that you're resolving to get that money from the person, because nobody's just going to give you money for fun. Like, come on, bro. Like, you need to understand this, that you need to resolve something or free up time, free a pain point, reduce a problem. You need to do something to be able to get money. Nobody is just going to hand you money just to hand you money. I know you see the videos, you see the lifestyle, you see all this stuff, and you think, oh, if I just had money. But you have to realize that money is not just going to come out of thin air. You have to do something to be able to gain money. That's how money's made, okay? So what you want to do to identify this problem is you want to map out the problem and the whole journey for the person you're helping out, right? So again, let's say you're running ads for an e-commerce store. Look at their current state. Where are they at right now? Okay, so they don't know how to run ads, they're not generating enough money, they're not selling enough products. What is the root cause of this, and where do they want to be, right? So they want to be at a place where they're making $100,000 profit off their e-commerce store, but now they're making no money because they have no idea how to make ads or run ads. What's the root cause, right? What are their constraints? Look at everything they need from point A to point B. Everything in between. I want you to be as detailed as possible because this is really going to help you identify that pain point to make sure that you're actually in a position where you can solve that problem. So you want to research deeply and just make sure you understand your market and the person you're helping. So where are these people? Are they online, offline? What apps are they on? Are they on DMs? Are they not on DMs? Are they on emails? Like, be as specific as you humanly possibly can be, because this is just going to help you out a bunch. So if you are struggling to find a skill or a pain point and whatnot, just look at proof where there's pain. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? If you are in a position where you feel like you're lacking, you have some sort of skill, but you don't really see a pain point or a problem, look at what other people are helping with in that industry. It's really that simple, and just do it in your type of way. Do it in a different type of way. Like, that's really what it comes down to. You don't have to overcomplicate this, but try to be as detailed as possible, because it's going to help you out a ton. Okay. Next thing, once you have the skill, you have the pain point, we want to create the solution, right? And this is basically going to be your offer or the program that you're running, which is basically an A to Z offer, which is going to be unresistible. We're going to talk about that later, but you want to make sure you're not just selling like a service, but you want to have a structured solution, which is going to take them from A to Z with everything they need, right? Again, we need to get detailed and super specific about this. You want to define every aspect of your program or your offer to ensure that you have super clarity with what you're doing, and that you also can actually provide the results that you're giving, right? So you want to define this program in detail. So inputs, what you need from a client, right? Your whole process, like what is actually your methodology behind it? What is your thought process? Why is it going to be working? Why is it not going to be working? why they're facing the problem, what your solution is to the problem, so on and so on, right? All your deliverables, timeline, responsibilities, everything. So this is a great example, again, from my mentor Calum. He uses this example all the time with the marathon coach. Me personally, I'm running a marathon in like 2 months, right? If I were to have a marathon coach, you're not just going to have a coach that's going to tell you how to run. You want an offer which is going to outline everything from your running, your training sessions, to your fueling, to your meals, to your gym workouts, to your running workouts, to race day, to your sleep, like everything in between, right? That's the clarity you want. So a whole plan is really what you need, right? So make sure you can actually look at the problem, look at the skill that you have, and design an offer around it. Hopefully that makes sense. Next thing is, once you kind of understand that offer, we want to make sure it's bulletproof and irresistible. That's one of the key things to this whole thing, is you want to have an offer that is basically irresistible. Okay, it's going to make your life 10 times easier to get to $10,000 a month if it's an irresistible offer, right? So what is actually something that makes an offer irresistible? Well, first off, you want to make sure it's an offer that is, or that has a high likelihood of actual achievement, right? Which means it's almost guaranteed to get them results, basically, is hopefully what your offer should be. Obviously, not all skill sets and offer can do this, but if you have a proper results based skill, you should have a high likelihood of achievement. So you want to make sure that the offer you have, the service that you're providing, is actually going to get them the results that they're looking for. Next thing is, you want to make sure your offer speaks directly to the person. Okay, this is super key, because I want to preference by saying you can't help everybody. Okay, you really can't. Like, we're really just looking to help a specific person to begin with, to make sure we can actually get them the results they want, right? If we, again, are running ads for an e-commerce store, we are not going to be helping somebody that's doing, I don't know, Snapchat ads or Snapchat random ass stuff, right? We're specifically talking to the e-com brand owners and running ads for them. Super important. Another example could be copywriting. If you're during, excuse me, if you're writing copy for an e-commerce store, you're not going to be helping somebody writing copy on some other bullshit or something that's has nothing to do with it, right? Like, bad example maybe, but you guys get the gist of it. Like, you want to make sure you're specific to the person that you want. Also, you want to make sure that it's the results come in a short amount of time, right? This is also very key, because you want to reduce the amount of time to get the results as much as possible. So the shorter it is, the better. Obviously, you don't want it to be too short, because it kind of puts you in a tricky place as well, and it's kind of hard for them to believe that. But an irresistible offer should like get them the results pretty quickly. And then you also want your guarantees with the offer that you have, which is basically just like the nail on the head. If it's completely irresistible and it has a guarantee, it's pretty much a no-brainer for the person, right? So you want to make sure you have everything in line, make sure it's bulletproof, so it gets the results, it has a guarantee, it's irresistible. It's hard for somebody to jump on a call with you and say no if it's really that good, right? Now, main thing is, you want to make sure it's bulletproof, but don't just be promising stuff and then not delivering, because we're going to talk about deliveries later. But make sure that you're not just like promising BS and then nothing happens, but that it's actually something that you can make happen. So once we have these 4 steps, we want to dive into step 5, which is basically just getting your clients, getting outreach, leads, and stuff like that. So this basically is one of the most essential things, because once you have all these 4 steps in line, the only real thing you're missing is just the person you're supposed to sell your service to, or sell your skill set to, or whatever, right? So And that kind of comes with outreach, and it comes with the leads coming in, right? So when you want to kind of find your ideal clients, basically you should already have a good understanding of the market based on step number 2. Once you've made that offer in step 3, you kind of have your ideal clients, you have the market, you know where they are, their pain points and whatnot. From there, you basically just want to do outreach or lead generation, right? And this is going to be done in a couple different ways. You can just do targeting outreach. You can obviously run ads if you want to. I don't really recommend that starting off, because you can just reach out to people. Like, you should know where people are at in your markets, what apps they're at, and stuff like that. So just like do the outreach you need to do. Don't look at yourself as being better than doing cold outreach, because you're not, especially if you're not really making money. Obviously, it's not really sufficient. It's not really something that is appealing. It's obviously not something that you genuinely like want to be doing, but you can always hire somebody to do it for you. You can always just like set a little bit of time aside to do it, but do some outreach. It's just gonna make things easier, because it's gonna get more money through the door. Trust me, it will, as long as you put the work in. But also, you want to make sure you're as targeted as you can be with it, right? So don't just be spamming out these messages to like random people and whatnot. You want to make sure you do it targeted, calculated, and genuine. So you want to be a human. You want to make sure you're having genuine conversations. A great example of this, which I'll give you, which one of the guys that I've actually helped get to like $300,000 a month through online coaching, is basically doing this exact thing. And what he's doing is, whenever he gets a follower on, let's just say IG, or actual case IG, he like looks through his page, sees it's a guy that's kind of trying to do something. He just reaches out to him and he just starts up conversations. Don't be afraid to start up conversations, bro, because that's really where things happen, especially in the early stages when you're at zero and you want to get to $10,000, right? So whenever you get a follower, you're just like, start up conversations. Yo, what you doing? What you up to? What's the game plan? Just start up conversations, see where they're at, and that's basically a lead generated right there. They don't have to buy right away. Just like keep in touch, stay in contact. How's that going for you? Do you need help with this? What's up with the ad? What's up with these posts you've been posting? So, right, just start up those conversations, and then eventually that conversation is going to lead into a conversation, or like a call, video meeting, a sales call, and eventually a close. And that's a client in right there, because he trusts you. You've been talking to him. You guys know each other, etc., etc. While you're doing targeting outreach, you also want to make sure you're doing content, right? So you want to make sure you're outreaching with different messages. You're making Loom videos is a good way of actually interacting with people as well. And just posting content in general is going to help you guys out a ton, because you're going to build up some sort of following. You're going to build up an audience of people that are trusting you, and all you really need is just like 50 like core super fans, 50 core guys that really want to buy anything you have. So by posting content, that is going to help out a ton. You're going to get a lot of leads in, and you can just stay in contact with them. You're going to see that they're literally going to see that what you do is, there's proof in the pudding, and you're pretty much just like jumping on calls from there and doing sales calls. So once you kind of have the leads coming in, all you really need to do is just like set up a proper, not really a funnel, but just like a proper way of them getting on a call with you. And once you're on a call, you're basically just going to sell your offer. Because now at this point, after the first 5 steps, we have, let's just actually go real quick. You had the skill, the edge, right? You've identified a problem. So now you've made a program that actually solves that person's pain point or problem. And you've made this offer pretty bulletproof. And you've also found the person or the lead that has this problem, and the person that actually needs your bulletproof program. So all you really need to do now is just jump on that call and sell them the offer. It's really that simple. And this is pretty much my expertise right here when it comes to like the calls and the sales and whatnot. Like I've done all of it, this stuff, but I would say like this is my main thing right here, which I know everything about. Not to say that I don't know about the other things, but like there's one thing I would pick. This is really like where things go. And my main recommendation is just like you want to make sure to have, again, genuine conversations. No bullshit, no selling, no like anything like that, no pressure, no sleaziness, none of that. Like you want to make sure that you can actually help the person you're talking to. Okay. So again, I can't state this enough times, but you can't help everybody. You only want to help the people that you 100% know that you can actually help. It's going to help you. It's going to not waste any time. It's going to give you good testimonials and everything you really need. So main thing is just when you're jumping on calls, you just want to like set the agenda for the call, which means like this is just what I want the call to be about. Look at where they're at, where they want to go, what's the root cause of their problem. Make them solve themselves once they've kind of told you why they care about this, why they want to do this, and so on. You're just going to offer them price point and then make sure they close on the call, hopefully, right? So again, don't be pushy, just qualify the lead to make sure he actually has money. He can do your mentorship, right? Because, or like the program, your service, whatever. Because again, you don't want to have a guy on board which is not on board with you, right? You don't want to have a guy that like your service basically requires him to do something. Let's say, again, the example of running ads, you're just going to run the ads for them, but you can't make the ads. So you don't want to have a package for a guy where a guy like can't even make ads, right? Because then you have nothing to run. So make sure like you qualify them and have everything on point. So once you have everything from step 6, step 7, you've basically like made your money, but the journey is not over, okay? Because very importantly, you want to make sure that you actually fulfill and deliver on everything you've done. And this is very important because you need a proper system to actually onboard people, to have your delivery and fulfillment in place, communication, and also boundaries, right? Everything needs to be set and delivered properly. Otherwise, if you're doing this on the fly or on the whim or whatever, it's going to create a lot of chaos. And it's basically just going to be you have one client and you have another 9 to 5, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to have freedom in what we do. We want to have $10,000 a month with freedom as well. So make sure your onboarding is streamlined. Make sure your delivery, you have proper SOPs, timelines, KPIs, stuff like that. Your communication is on point with one another. And you also have strict boundaries on how you're supposed to maneuver inside. Delivery is very key. It's going to give you trust. It's going to make sure that people actually show proof of what you're doing is working. And it's just going to create an overall better environment. You're going to get referrals. Everything is just better if your fulfillment is on point. Because if it's not, your business is going to drown very, very quickly. It's just like an e-commerce store that has no customer service. It's going to drown very quickly. Chargebacks are going to come, etc., etc. So with all of those steps in place, your last step is going to be step 8, which is basically just going to be to repeat and scale steps 5, 6, and 7. Repeat that, scale, and you should pretty much be good to go. From there, you should be able to get your first $10,000 a month from one singular skill as soon as possible. It really shouldn't take you more than like 1 or 2 months, to be fair, as long as you have done everything we've talked about in this video in proper detail. Now, again, like I said, there is really no way for me to actually go super deep into the nitty-gritty of every single step. I really wish I could, but the video would be so freaking long. So if you guys want more details on any of these different steps, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure to make a video regarding the steps specifically. If it's anything else you guys feel like if there's anything else you guys really feel like you need from this video, from the steps, anything that I missed, please let me know. Again, I'll make another video on it. Just share some super fire values, some super fire sauce with you guys. So you pretty much have everything you need. If you, again, want direct one-on-one help from me, I'm not no guru. I'm literally just a guy that's made a lot of money and wanting to share it with somebody out there that has pretty much been in my position and wants to get to the position I'm in today. So if you guys want that one-on-one help, find my email somewhere down below, somewhere linked over here. Reach out to me directly. I'm not working with everybody. I'm literally just working with people that are 100% serious. So make sure to reach out to me. I'll see if I can help you out and we can take things from there. Hopefully this helped. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.